In a world that is robbing dudes of their dudeness, three normal, everyday, middle-aged dudes are taking a stand for dudes everywhere. Join us as we talk about life as a dude in today's world.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Dudefinity podcast, the only podcast dedicated to all things dude. My name is Sterling, and joining me as always, a man who once tried to high-five a cardboard cutout of Jason Tatum and missed, Jordan.
Wow. Okay, glad to be here. Yeah, not sure what to think about that, but since you brought up Jason Tatum, why don't we just start with Jason Tatum today?
Well, let's start there.
Did you see the news? Did you see the post? Did you see the weird post? You sent it to me. Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. So if you are not aware, I believe it is May 16th? I think it was May 16th.
March 1st.
March 1st? Is it March 1st? Okay,
Dude, May 16th is like playoffs. Hey, guess what, guys?
I was just going to say, I was
playing
way
in a
off.
televised game.
So in case you hadn't heard, May 1st, the Boston Celtics will be playing.
In case you haven't heard, March 1st.
Why do I keep saying May?
I don't know, dude.
March 1st, the Boston Celtics will be playing the Philadelphia 76ers, and that game was not going to be nationally televised, but somehow now it's going to be.
Jason Tatum's coming back on March 1st.
I think that's probably the most likely takeaway.
They don't flex crappy games, dude. They just don't.
No, I mean it's not like it's a massive rivalry game or they're tight in the standings or something like that. It makes sense that this would be the game that they're planning on him coming back by. They could just be hedging their bets as well. Just saying this is kind of the date we're thinking about. So maybe they're going to nationally televise it, but for then, I would assume we'll be hearing something more about it soon-ish.
He's practicing with the Red Claws and 5-on-5s. And then, so speaking of Jason Tatum, I want to talk about something for a second about him. Achilles injury, okay? Head surgery within, like 7 hours or something like that?
I think it was like 12, 16, something like that.
It was very unprecedented how fast he got it done.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already cutting. He's doing things he needs to do. He's practicing, all that stuff. And then Dame Lillard, who you never hear about his recovery, all of a sudden comes out of nowhere and wins the three-point contest, even though he hasn't played at all this year. Like, what is that about?
Yeah, that was weird, man.
It's kind of like Jaden Durden
that was an odd one.
Playing in the All-Star game after he, just got in a fight like 3 days before.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Dame win it last year?
I think so, maybe.
And that might be why they let him do
Yeah, but
it,
either way, why is he
time.
there? He's hurt.
I don't know, dude. I mean,
shouldn't you be quick to play before you are involved?
I mean, all he's doing is shooting jump shots. It's not.
I know, but it takes away from somebody else that they could have invited potentially.
I mean, I guess, but won it again, so obviously it worked out for him. Speaking of the All-Star break, were you able to watch any of those games, that new format?
Wasn't really interested in it. I watched a little bit of it, didn't pay much attention, but they did seem like they were trying harder. For sure.
Yeah, that was kind of, especially against the world team, I felt like they were both trying harder. And then I saw Ant made a statement that he was absolutely trying harder, and really took the whole SGA
You think
thing.
Kawhi was trying by chance?
Dude, holy.
You think Kawhi was trying?
Kawhi went off.
31 minutes, or 31 points, 12 minutes?
Both teams beat the world team. Now, that was the world team minus Jokic and Luka, but
maybe they could have got
they played it, I think, 5 minutes in the first game and then sat out the rest of the time. Regardless, I thought it was a good format. It was a nice change of pace. Everybody seemed like they were trying harder, and if there's one complaint I have about the
nobody plays defense, nobody tries,
nobody tries.
So Tatum might be coming back, might not be. I guess we'll find out. But from the NBA, maybe you are hedging bets a little bit that's what's going to happen.
I got a feeling he's going to. I think this is just another step in the direction of him coming back to play. Now, are you still of the ilk that you think he should sit out for the rest of the season regardless?
I'm 50-50 on it, I think. I mean, I just don't want him to rush him back. And Tatum's mindset is he doesn't want to come back and mess things up either, and
Right.
we've got a good chemistry going. If they come back and they try to keep more of what we're doing, if they don't try to change the whole offense to fit Tatum right now, yeah, fine, come back. Like bring Tatum alongside what you're doing already, but don't change the game for Tatum. Let Tatum come up to that game, mentality and that game speed, and let Tatum change the game for himself. You know what I mean? Like you can insulate him, you can put him in positions to succeed, but if you're gonna just try to go back to what we were doing before with Tatum being the dude, wait till the
Hmm.
off season at this point.
Hmm. Uh, have you been paying any attention to the Olympics?
Bro, no. Not even a little bit. Not even a
I'm
little bit.
not. I'm not a big Winter Olympics person.
Oh, please, dude.
Either.
You
But
called me the other day. You cannot lie on here. You called me the other day and you were like, you were getting all your snacks and your popcorn and you were having poutine and you were going to sit and watch the male's figure skating, I think is what you said it was.
uh,
Seems like
no,
your
not.
sport.
I'll watch the hockey final or something like that, but I'm not. It's not. I like the Summer Olympics. I'm not a big Winter
Me too.
Olympics person.
And honestly, like
But
the only world games I like FIFA. And the hockey finals I'll watch if America's in it, but if they're not, I don't really care.
uh, well, because the reason I asked that, I was curious if you had seen that one of the competitors from Ukraine in skeleton uh had his helmet had airbrushed pictures of athletes in Ukraine that had been killed during the war, and he got disqualified by the IOC for
It's pretty
wearing it.
messed up. That's pretty messed up.
Well, and they told him not to do it, and then he did it anyways. And
Well,
I'm like, good on you,
okay.
dude. Good for you. I thought that says a lot about the IOC.
Have you been watching the world champion of chess tour?
The what?
The world championship of chess tour? No, me
Am
either.
I really missing out?
Me either. I don't know. I don't even know if
That's
it's on right
that's
now.
that's surprising considering you were state runner up. You were runner up in the state chess championship
It was
in
in
high
high
school.
school, Sterling. Things have changed a little bit since then.
Shoot.
Dude, I had a
So
weekend.
I was just
Dude,
gonna say,
what the
you
hell?
called me and said you had a pretty
Oh,
weekend.
dude. You ever so Friday the 13th, right? Like Friday the 13th. Okay. Whatever. I never give any credence to that stuff. But and I don't care. Her and I have a historic and I have a history. My wife and I have a history of not really choosing to do Valentine's Day. When we were younger, we put too much pressure on it. There was always disappointment. One of us was in a bad mood, the other one was in a good mood, vice versa. And just, we'd rather spend our time together throughout the year than one day to say it. And then the other thing I appreciate about her is she's not a big like get me flowers type of person because flowers die. So she's more of a why buy roses when you can buy a rose bush kind of girl. So I appreciate that. Um, but somebody had to stay home with the dogs this weekend. My daughter had a competition out of state um, for the sport that she participates in. So they, my wife and my mother-in-law and her took off for the weekend. So me and the dogs hanging out. Friday night we had a little get together at one of the neighbors' houses. We have a first Friday get together, and you
Hmm.
know, a buddy of mine decided that he was going to hang out for a little bit longer after his wife and daughter left, so I offered to drive him home. As I'm backing out of his pitch black driveway, an extremely narrow driveway, there is ice on the road, and I can't see the camera what I'm doing. So one thing
Hmm.
leads to another, and I had the slowest collision one could ever have. I literally hit the ice, teetered, and just went off with my foot on the brake. Very light boom. Didn't even wake up the another neighbor's house who I was in their ditch. So that was great. I had to let them know not to call the cops on some random car being in their ditch because it was definitely oh, did I mention it was my wife's car because they took my car on that trip? And she was like, I parked on the top park of the parking deck because I know how much you don't like me parking next to other people in your car. And I'm like,
You're just like,
Happy Valentine's Day. Put yours in a ditch. I don't know what to tell you. Like, she's like, what? Yeah, yeah, you heard me right. Your car is definitely in the neighbor's ditch. But we're getting it out. Good news is I called a buddy who lives in the neighborhood who happened to be his driveway was 100 yards from the driveway that I buried her car in the ditch in. And he's like, I'm getting up. Where are you? I'm like 100 feet from your driveway, dude. And he's like, what? So then him and his son come out, and his son's giving me all kinds of grief. Just smart ass little kid, buddy.
You feel
I
you
love them,
probably
man. No, I deserved it. I deserved it, but dude, there was nothing I could do. I've replayed it over and over and over again, and there was just, it was one of those things that I will say what I have learned is that I'm not, I was already not a fan of my wife's car, and I'm not a fan of how light that thing is. It's so light that it slid down the snow and ice and didn't even like leave tire tracks in the snow. The tire tracks came when my buddy pulled it out the next morning. But yeah, so that was Friday. Earlier in the week, I had a frozen pipe in the wall. Luckily, it didn't burst. And then Sunday comes, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to church. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna get the house clean. I'm gonna do all these nice things. So I start vacuuming around the laundry room a little bit and around the wall, and I'm like, you know what? I got this tool I bought. Let me watch the video real quick. So I put it all together. It's 4 3-foot runs that you screw together, and then you use pliers and make sure it's there, and it bends, and you clean out your dryer vents with it on the end of a drill. Well, that's great in theory when all but one run comes out when you're pulling it back out. So then I called my buddy, and we ended up going up in the attic space. Luckily, I didn't have to cut a wall or anything. It was easy to get to, but we still had to go into the attic space, remove a section of the pipe, clean it out. So needless to say, my dryer vents are spotless after all that. But just a long day. And so I told my wife, I was like, I don't think
sounds
I'm gonna
that.
do anything else. And she goes, I don't think you should. I think you should just
Yeah, no,
stop.
I think you should just call
Then I
it good for the day.
And then I called you a little while ago. I've just been not feeling that great, man. A little bit of stomach pain, but I think it's fine. It might be stress too, just from the weekend and all that stuff, but I'm looking forward to getting back into routine, getting out of my house tomorrow, going to work, doing the things I need to do. Except for I am driving a car that I just don't like. The rental they put me in is the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. And it's basically like driving a hollow box down the road. Hate that car. Hate it.
Oh,
Well,
brother, well, I'm sorry you had such a rough weekend. That's unfortunate.
and yes, I know it
Uh,
sounds like I can't survive without my wife. Apparently, I can't. Not well.
yeah, we had kind of we had a rough start to the day today.
Yeah, you had a surprising start, man.
Yeah, we my girlfriend's got cats, so now the cats live with us, and so we've got
In
a
case anybody was wondering, Sterling did save her from being the crazy cat lady. 100%. Like, she'll tell you this.
so we had 3 cats, and then so we had to put one down, and then this morning we found one had passed away overnight, and yeah, it's just we're trying to get out the door because we got to get my daughter to daycare, and then get us to work, and it just wasn't a good morning, so we ended up just kind of working it out and calling it a day for the got out of work and took care of the cat, and
Do they
yeah, it
let
just
you use
wasn't.
bereavement on animals? I know some places do, like some employers.
Oh, no, I just had to kind of
No?
take the day off. Luckily, it's easy enough for me to take time off like that. So, but
Yeah.
it just kind of
Tell us your value. Tell us your value without telling us your value there. It's easy for me to take a day off.
yeah, it's just kind of it's
Of
not
course it
it's
is,
not
man. It's
ideal.
never
Yeah,
easy. There are fur
and it's
babies.
yeah, it's too bad because I really kind of grew attached to this one. I really liked this one, so it's just sad.
It's just really
Man,
weird
let
to
my
hear you
daughter know,
say.
but yeah, it was a good cat. He was a
Don't
good
take this
cat.
the wrong way. That's great for cat people. I don't know as if I could ever become attached to a cat. They scare me and they weird me out. But it's because when I was a kid, I've told you that story. My mom and my stepdad decided to get me a pound kitten for my fourth, or a pound cat for my fourth birthday, and then let me hug it like a stuffed animal while I was sleeping. Guess what? Pound cat didn't like that night. He went back to the pound the next day because I was covered in scratches from head to toe. ever since. Cats aren't really my
Well,
peeps.
you know, it's these the I was never been a huge cat person, but you know, like I say, this cat was good. It was good with the dog. It was good with my daughter. So yeah,
Cool.
it's just it's
Yeah, I hate
unfortunate.
it. I hate it for man. It's terrible.
Hmm. Uh, so, s- speaking of kids, my daughter came to me. I had just the best moment ever. My daughter came to me this morning and was like, "Dad, I can't wait till it's spring so that we can go and play golf." And I was like, "Yes, all of that.
I'm
I
still trying
can't
to get
wait
mine to
either."
play. Mine's more excited to go shooting guns. I shot this weekend with one of my buddies in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and I told her, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't take me," and I'm like, "Jeez, okay." She's like this like princess in in sport, and then outside of it, she's like, "I want to shoot guns and wear camo, Dad."
Yeah, no, I'm just excited that she wants to.
That's
We'll see.
really cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So
Um.
speaking of your daughter,
Yeah.
the other day we were catching up, and you tend to be a very consistent father when it comes to the rules and the consequences that follow those
Mm,
rules, for
yeah.
not following those rules. The other day I called you and I was like, "What's going on?" And you said, "Well, we did not have a very good day at school today. Gonna be going to bed a little early." Oh man, what'd she do? I always want to know the crime, man. Like, what's the crime?
It wasn't anything of great substance. She
I was
she
hoping
went to
you had
the
a good
principal's
story.
office twice in one day, but it's like it's just because she's just hard-headed and doesn't like to listen, and
Huh. Wonder where
yeah.
she gets that.
Everybody says that. I don't know why that's why that's the thing. She's got two parents.
Yeah, both of them are hard-headed and doesn't want to listen. Oh, poor girl.
So I don't know if you remember our previous conversation from our last podcast about the whole Epstein thing. But you asked me a fantastic question. Where did this guy get his money from?
I also asked
And
you if you would hang out at Epstein Island, and you didn't include that in there, so I don't know what that means.
would I hang out there? No.
You didn't want to
Well, I
eat
mean,
six
it
pounds of
depends.
you didn't want to eat 6 pounds of jerky?
I don't know where that was. It could have been on the island. It could have been in his place in Paris, New York, wherever.
Could have been everywhere
But
he was. Anyway,
Florida.
sorry. Go ahead.
But but you know what? If there was no illegal activity and he wasn't there, it might be pretty. I don't know.
Let me just remind you, Sturls, I don't think he's showing up anytime soon, but
Well,
thank you, Clintons.
so
The
so
Killery machine keeps going.
oh, Killery. Yeah. So we were kind of talking about one of the questions you asked me when
Yeah,
we
the
were
money.
when we were
Like,
talking.
where? Show
Where's
me
the
the
money
money,
come from?
man. Show me the
Where did the
money.
money come from? So after a little bit of digging, and again, so now we're getting more into the speculative type of stuff. I can't say for 100% on all of the things that I'm going to say. That these weren't in the Epstein files. This is just going back and looking at the guy's history. So at some
This is your deductive reasoning.
there's some verifiable stuff that I'm going to talk about. Then there's some stuff that's kind of speculative, but seems to make sense. So at some point, Epstein owned a consulting company in the UK. This was during the early 80s. I got to get my notes out for this because there's a bunch of names in here that I don't remember off the top of my head. All right. So there was a fellow by the name of Douglas Leese who was involved with the British arms industry.
So Leese.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Leese was involved with the British arms industry, and excuse me, he was attempting to orchestrate a arms deal with Saudi Arabia, and somehow like Epstein got involved in this, and I don't know the specifics as to why, but his consulting company got involved in this. And from the sounds of things, he helped grease the wheels that made this arms deal happen. Um, and so it also sounds like there was a lot of bribes that happened to make this arms deal take place. Um, and so how we were kind of talking about, well, was he Mossad, CIA, that sort of thing. Um, this just kind of lends to, the idea that this was a guy who just really became embedded with these influential, wealthy people. So Epstein in the 80s helps make this arms deal take place. And uh, so the Saudis end up spending a bunch of money with the British for I think like Tornado jet fighters and Silkworm anti-ship missiles and some other. I might have some of the weapons wrong. Don't quote me on it, but something in that ballpark. So at the same time, or shortly thereafter, he gets involved with this guy Adnan Khashoggi, who is a
Jamal
diplomat.
Khashoggi's dead.
I should have looked that up because it popped
Dude,
into
that
my
just
head.
hit me. So now I got to look it up while you're talking. Keep talking. I got to know this though. Sorry.
All right, so
What was his name?
Adnan Khashoggi. So he's involved with this. He gets involved with this guy. And they're basically making back channel black market arms deals in places like Iran and Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan.
Holy cow.
Is that who?
It is. No, I'm joking.
No,
It's not.
oh,
No, it's
no.
not. That would have been
Oh,
a breaking
that would
news
have been
event right there if we just connected that. But
that would
there's
have
not
been
too
pretty
many
wild.
Khashoggis that come out in the news.
So as I say, he's starting to develop this. He's starting to develop this kind of reputation as being a guy who can make
It's my friend
these
Jeff.
deals kinds of happen. It's my friend Jeff. Moreover, the interesting thing is that it seems like a lot of the actual financial parts of this were all, as far as like the money laundering side, were all designed by Epstein. So how to get stuff into country, how to move the money around so that it doesn't show up on anybody's radar, that was all Epstein stuff. So, one of the well-known things about all these arms deals is that intelligence agencies like the CIA, MI6, uh, Mossad were well aware of what was happening. And in fact, when they served a purpose that was beneficial to that intelligence agency, they might even lend a hand. So that lends credence to the idea that Epstein probably was some kind of CIA Mossad asset. Was he a agent? That doesn't sound like it. This sounds more like,
I think he was just an opportunist and people knew who he was.
well, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of deal. Kind of like if you've ever seen Lord of War, that's kind of the idea. So, to the point that this fella named Ari Ben Menashe, who worked for Mossad, identified Epstein as a asset. So basically, Epstein gives them some information. They turn a blind eye to the things he's doing, or if the thing that he's doing benefits them, they may lend a hand, that sort of stuff. I'm not saying he's out there. He's not an agent, but he's
disrupting
an
governments and doing all this crazy
No, it
stuff.
doesn't
But
sound
he was
like it.
he was well liked by a lot of people. Sounds like.
Well, so here's the other part with it.
He must
So
have had some really good
meanwhile-
beef jerky. Do you think he made
So
it?
No, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Again, this stuff that I'm talking about now. It's all that's not, none of that's really speculation. That's all kind of known.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's kind of wild.
So here's where we get into a bit of the speculation. All right, so the Iran-Contra scandal, right? For anybody who doesn't actually know what that is, basically what happened was there was this group in Nicaragua called the Contras who were trying to overthrow the government there. The CIA was wanted to help them do that. So they needed to funnel them money. But how do you funnel these Contras money without anybody knowing about it? Like, and where do you get the money from to do it? And how do you launder it so it doesn't come back to you? So one of the things that the CIA did was they sold weapons to Iran. So I know they sold them Stinger missiles, Sidewinders, and definitely sold them the Silkworm anti-ship missiles. I'm 99.9% sure I'm saying that right. So the CIA sells Iran the weapons. Iran, now mind you, they can't let Iran know that they're the ones selling them the weapons, and they have to smuggle. There's even at this time in the 80s there was weapons embargoes on Iran, so they had to come up with back channel
You mean
ways
they've
to
been
get the
bad
weapons.
actors since way back?
Yeah. So they had to figure out ways to make this all happen. So, long story short, they sell the weapons to Iran. Iran gives them money. They funnel the money to the Contras in Nicaragua. Job's a good one, right? So one of the fellas that worked for the State Department was a lawyer by the name of John Stanley Pottinger. He basically was the one who organized how to make this whole thing work as far as getting through customs, getting through and smuggling the weapons themselves. Now, interestingly, he rented an office space or a space in a place called the Hotel St. Moritz in New York, and he shared this office space with Jeffrey Epstein. So, Jeffrey Epstein might have been involved. I think it's reasonable to say he probably was heavily involved in the Iran-Contra scandal. So, that just, tying things back together, we kind of see where he got his money.
Maybe he was a double agent.
I think it's one of the points that needs to be made here. He was not an agent. This guy
No, I'm joking.
he's an asset. And from the sounds of things, he had no allegiance to any country whatsoever. Didn't care.
Whoever paid him the best.
Exactly. He just went where the money was. So yeah.
Well, and
I thought that was interesting.
further lends credence with some of the stuff that's coming out to the fact that he did not kill himself.
Oh, my girlfriend and I were talking about this because she's like, well, some people are talking about whether he's even dead. Maybe he faked his death and they got him out. And I'm like, no, he's dead. Because, it's one of those things. What's easier? Smuggling this guy out of jail, putting him up somewhere, hoping he keeps his mouth shut, or just offing him. And, that would, to me, is the easiest way to do it. That is one loose end that is now tied.
Dude, I have a random question. It just popped into my head about like people who are like smuggled around and put in different places. Is Edward Snowden still a Russian, like on Russian soil?
As far as I know. As far
Anyway,
as
I
I
don't
know,
know why.
he's still on.
I was just thinking of people that had stuff, and it was just weird. Because I was gonna say
Well,
in my head, I was saying, well, maybe Epstein's with Putin.
Well, here's one of those things I'll tell you. Edward Snowden. You want to talk about a guy that got a bad shake of things. He got a bad shake of things. You do the whole whistleblower thing, but then when it comes to something that the American people really shouldn't, quote unquote, know about, well, then there's no whistleblower protection. Which and you want to talk about, hey, you're not an Obama fan. You want to talk about some serious hypocrisy. Obama's like, yeah, no, we want whistleblowers. Yeah, whistleblowers. And Snowden comes out and says, hey, did you guys know that the CIA is literally collecting data from basically every U.S. citizen there is illegally without any kind of warrant or anything? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna put you in jail for treason. You know, it's just one of those things. And like,
Dude,
if that doesn't say a lot about every politician, the U.S.
I'm not an
government, all
Obama
of it.
fan because he sent us, in my opinion, he sent us backwards a little bit, in some of the things that he was doing. But, I mean, they all do stupid stuff that sends us backwards, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. So,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Obama was that bad. In fact,
he deported more people than Trump's did.
I was gonna say, it's he had
And then
supported more
Hillary just
people than
recently
Trump.
came out and was like, we really do need to. Did you see that whole thing where Hillary was speaking overseas and she's like, we actually really do need to pay attention. We do have a migration issue.
Oh, what is this guy's name? Oh, I meant to write this down earlier. God dang it. Tell me an awesome story or something while I look this up. Because I got to get this guy's name.
Awesome story. Okay.
I don't know. Entertain the people while I get names.
Dude, well, remember when we were kids and we used to ride our bikes everywhere, like all the time, or rollerblades, because we lived in an area that it was really safe to do that. I was thinking about that the other day, man, as I was like riding through my area. And my daughter really doesn't know what it's like to live in a typical American suburbia, like American safe suburb, you know what I mean? With sidewalks and you can go all over town and everybody knows you and I don't know. Just interesting. That wasn't that interesting of a story. Sorry, man. I got nothing. You put me on the spot pretty hard.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Dude, did you see about the Dolphins?
No.
So they cleaned house. They cut Tyreek Hill. I mean, granted, he's 33, almost 33 years old, coming off a, bum leg, but he's going to keep playing. But more importantly, they have a defensive end that I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up on the Patriots, because a lot of times we like those in division like moves. And Bradley Chubb is a beast, absolute beast.
All right. So,
Yeah, we failed.
no, that was a good story. Great story. Miami Dolphins. That guy. All right. Let's get into some interesting things.
Laces out, Dan.
Laces out, Dan.
Ironhorn is Finkel.
Out.
Finkel is Ironhorn.
Ironhorn.
I made Elle watch that. She loved it.
Jesus. Okay. So, a little while ago, you and I were having a conversation that neither one of us would want to visit the UK, right?
Yeah, heck no.
Well, between imprisoning their own people for just, a tweet.
Geez, Donald Trump would
nozzles.
be hung by the death by hanging over and over again at this point.
Oh my gosh. So, the UK has imprisoned like 14 apparently. They've imprisoned like 14,000 people for tweets. I'm going to check myself on that one because I'm not 100% sure. I might be a little over. But regardless, they've imprisoned a bunch of people for what they've said on the internet.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, and it's hate speech. Well, so basically they've just taken this massive turn backwards and they've become like this Gestapo,
Oh, they're Nazis?
Well, they're not Nazis because we don't use Nazis for things that aren't Nazis. However,
I mean, that seems to be there seems to be like the number one describing word of
on a long enough timeline, any argument eventually ends up talking about Nazis. Anyways, so they've been having frankly a lot of the same issues that any Western country has when they allow lots of people from the third world in. So part of the problem is, and you and I have talked about this, and I'm going to say some controversial here, just, mentally prepare yourself. But when somebody wants to come to your country and wants to assimilate, so they're saying, I want to thank you for letting me in. I bring my little special flavor, but I want to assimilate into the culture that you have because I've chosen this as a place to live. I've decided that this is a better place for me and my family to live than where I came from. And respectfully, I'm going to assimilate myself into your culture, right?
Learn your language, learn the culture, be a part of it. Yeah.
Perfectly fine. Love that. happy to have you. If you're, they're going to work hard, pay taxes, eventually become citizens, all the things that, we want to see for people and you and I both agree on this as that.
Oh my God, yes. Legal
The
immigration is
legal, yeah, absolutely. Legal immigration, come
it's the
on
greatest
in,
thing that
join
exists,
the
man.
party. You're right. Exactly. So, the UK has been having basically the same issue that most countries have. Not everybody wants to assimilate. In fact, most of them want to continue the same practices that they had in their country that was so that they left it in the first place. Right? So, I don't, like I said, there's been mass protests in the UK, big marches talking about how much they do not want these things to happen, that they don't want their tax dollars going to
Yeah.
putting up refugees in 5-star hotels for time immemorial, and putting everybody on, welfare, et cetera, et cetera. I don't blame them. You and I think we don't agree on everything, but this is one of those ones that you and I are pretty lockstep in about.
Well,
So,
it also helps when you have a front row seat to watch a friend,
mhm.
yeah. It does change things when you have friends who are legal immigrants and they feel like they got slapped in the face. It's kind of like, you know what I was likening this to the other day, and I'll let you go into that thought. I was telling a couple of guys in the neighborhood, I'm like, legal immigration is like student loan debt. The wiping out of student loan debt that was happening. Some people are upset because they paid for their debt, did it the right way, did
Gotcha.
everything the way it
Uh-huh.
was, did it the appropriate path, paid it off, and now someone's gonna come along and go, "Oh, hey, guess what? You're gonna wipe out my student loan debt? Cool." But they've
Okay.
already paid. And so
Yeah.
when I think about it, it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, I did everything. I did everything the right way to become an American. And I was listening to one of my buddies talk who immigrated from Denmark. Denmark. And he's like, I don't get why everybody's so mad. He's like, this doesn't even make sense. I had to pay thousands of dollars to come here. I had to do everything the right way. I had to put myself up. There wasn't welfare. I wasn't even offered welfare until I became a US citizen. And he's like, so I just don't understand. But yeah, anyway, so just an observation. And that's where that whole conversation came from, because I was trying to liken it to something that other people are like mad about, but can't really,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
I think that's a really good description of it. I mean, frankly, yeah. It's the people that in my life that have the biggest issue with illegal immigration are legal immigrants. Um, those are the people who are we have a really close friend, um, who immigrated here from Russia, and he's now an American citizen. And if there's one person who gets pissed off about illegal immigration, it's him, and I
Well,
don't blame him.
he takes the Bill of Rights as unalienable, and he's very constitutionalist, if that makes sense,
Yes, very
because
much so.
it was forced on him. So, and he had to learn it, that quite frankly, in a way that we never were forced to learn it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
actually, he can probably tell us more about the Constitution than we can. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. But anyway, back to what you're saying. Sorry.
So yeah. So the Brits are having this issue where they've got, all of these third world immigrants who are there illegally or seeking asylum, which is one of my, listen, if you're seeking political asylum, fine. It, but you better have a real good reason for it. And everybody can't just seek asylum. Like, we're all dealt hands. When you're born, you're dealt a hand
Yeah, it
as
seems to be the flavor of
you
the
get.
day to get out of your situation. Oh, I'm seeking asylum? Well,
Yeah,
no. Like, from what?
yeah. Like from my country being, well, that's kind of the hand you were dealt, rather than coming here illegally.
Change your country.
Stick around and change your country. Or you can make the argument, well, it's easy for us to say, but somebody that came before us, that's what they did. So the Brits are having this problem where they've got I don't like to point out specific groups because every individual is an individual, but they've got an influx of illegal immigrants and of asylum seekers from Muslim majority countries who are
Do
culturally
they
different.
still have the largest number of displaced Syrians in
I
that
don't
whole?
know.
I
mean,
know
they
at one
might.
point they
I
had
don't.
like the largest number of displaced Syrians after
Yeah.
the Bashar al-Assad
We're
stuff.
gonna. We definitely are not going to be able to go to the UK after this. They'll probably.
No,
Probably get arrested. Anyways,
joke's on them. I don't
so
want to go. I don't want to go eat their
I don't want to
fish and chips and all their other.
listen. Don't
I like
you?
fish and chips. I like fish and chips, but I'd rather go to Ireland.
I like. Well, okay, fair. So okay, so you've got this whole thing with they are having this issue, and so it's their issue to solve, right? They've made their bed, they need to figure out how to manage it, whichever way they decide is best. But it's interesting because you and I keep having these conversations where we're like, you're starting to see the other shoe drop. You're starting to see things start to course correct. So there's a fella by the name of Rupert Lowe, who is a British MP and has started a brand new party, the Reform, I believe it's Restore Britain Party. And so this this party is,
Make Britain great again.
he brings up a lot of the same points that it sounds like a lot of a large percentage of the British population is bringing up, that, they don't want their tax dollars going to these things. They do, if you're coming there, they want you to assimilate, and they don't want Sharia law. He wants to outlaw the burqa, and he wants to outlaw Sharia law, which frankly should be outlawed, period, in any country.
The fact that we allow it, though, the fact that we allow it in
well, I
little
don't think we
sections,
really. I don't technically. We don't
enforce
allow it,
against it.
well, we
in a
should be
couple
just
of
saying it's
countries.
illegal.
Mhm.
Should be just saying it's illegal in the U.S. at least. Far be
Not
it
in
from us to
Dearborn,
tell
Michigan,
people.
though. Not in Dearborn, Michigan.
So this guy put up this viral post, this video, and it sounds like it's resonated with a lot of the populace. The point that he's got backing from Elon Musk now. I mean, here's the thing, and you and I have talked about this, and I know I'm being a bit long-winded with this thing, but it is something that I'm to some extent kind of passionate about. I believe that the greatest strength that we have as a nation, at least in the US, is that, we're a melting pot. Everybody's a little different. There's different cultures just by region, and you're encouraged to be yourself, and you're encouraged to be different and have some, ambition is a good thing and all that. And, these are all great things. But it would be disingenuous for me to sit here and go, well, but we're not really a Christian nation, or at least we don't have fundamental Christian values, which wouldn't necessarily be the case. I mean, here's the thing. All Western society is based off of Christianity. It just is, regardless of, and you and I differ here. I am not a believer in that, and you are, and that's fantastic. But I can acknowledge that a lot of the structure that we have, it comes from that religion. So when you start bringing in a bunch of people from another religion who maybe don't really want to assimilate into your culture, you're bound to have issues. And again, this is not me saying that you can't have a different religion. You 100% can. But, some of those fundamental values, you may have to change. You can't go, well, if you need to have your meat halal, no big deal, right? That's no big deal. You do you. Kill your goat however you want to. If you feel that a woman becomes of age as soon as she has a menstrual period, Well, that's a different story.
That's not our societal belief. So you need
That's
to.
not our societal belief. So like I say, it's and if they want to do that in their country, feel free, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but that's your land, that's your space. If that's the life that you
Well,
choose to
why are
lead,
you leaving
then
your
so be it.
country if you're gonna do the same things when you get here? That's what I don't understand. It's kind of like and I hate to say this, but Connecticut,
California.
California, Connecticut, New Jersey. You watch in New York, New Jersey, you see all these people wind up in like the Mid-Atlantic region. And then what ends up happening though is like, give you an example that I think is nuts. The Democrats are running a long game on their playbook, and I'm not sure, but they are, New Yorkers, for example, we use New York. State tax is high, people are running from it. They typically stop in the Virginia, Maryland area, Well, Virginia now has elected a new governor that is looking to increase taxes. But guess what? The Democratic governor down in North Carolina, he's
Mm-hmm.
decreasing taxes to entice people to come in. So now you're going to get all these people who vote for Democrat coming in from there, lower taxes as an enticement, and then they're just going to start increasing taxes in the next couple of years.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you don't like the way your state is run,
Change it.
well, you've got a lot of people who just, especially you look at like the influx of people from California to Texas, and they're like, "Woo, this place sucks. We're going to Texas. Now we're going to vote for the same that made the place that we just left suck." It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but I agree with you 100%. I don't. If
I
you
heard a
don't,
man say recently, if common sense was common, God would have given it to a Democrat.
all right, yeah.
Mm.
Like I say,
I don't know what that means. I'm just saying,
it's been a tough. I don't want to say it's been tough, but it's been a weird thing for me over the last like 5 years, 4 or 5 years, where I've always voted Democrat. Think I'm still technically a registered Democrat. I grew. That's just how I was raised. But oh, whatever. It's Democrats are not all bad, dude. You can't say that. You
I've
can't
never
make believe that.
never once said all Democrats are bad. What have I always told you? A strong Democratic Party is good for the nation. Right
This
now,
is
we
true.
don't have
I
a
will
strong.
give you that.
We have an extremely damaged and fractured Democrat Party. Is the problem? There's such a chasm in the Democrat Party that there's like 60% has one message and 40% has another, and and if they could just get back more to that centralist space, they'd be
And I
able
think
to.
that's most of the problem. I think about myself, and it's like, I would never consider myself to be a conservative, but
But you're a
there's certainly,
disenfranchised Democrat.
I mean, I'm like, there's stuff, and I'm like, what are
You're
you
a
guys doing?
disenfranchised Democrat. I mean,
And so my choice becomes, geez, when it was Trump versus Hillary, what was the guy's name
Gary
that
Johnson.
I voted for? Gary Johnson.
You
Because I
voted for the
couldn't do
guy.
it.
You didn't, but you voted for a man who, at the time, couldn't even tell you where Aleppo was, as it was
Bro,
dominating the news cycles.
Listen.
I'm just
I'm
saying,
gonna tell you,
bro.
I didn't like Trump. I didn't like
But you
Hillary.
decided to vote for a guy who didn't know where one of the top world problems was going
Was
on.
I fully aware that my vote was going to nothing? Yes, 100%.
You could have wrote in a name. It would have been far better than voting for Gary Johnson.
Whatever, man.
I don't know. You could have made up a name like Judo Crane or something. I don't know. Like, you could have just made it up. Or McNeil Daniel. I don't know. You could have just wrote a name in, dude.
Made up a name of some random person that neither of us knows. Just people
Or
just made up a name.
Mr.
Like,
No Given.
Or
No given gets one vote. No given.
or Picard Williamson. That would have been a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Or Kevin Hobbit.
Kevin Hobbit. Okay, so before we get off the rails, there's one more thing I wanted to hit on. I got to remember to do.
Oh God.
I'm just writing myself a
What's
note
his
here.
name, and when are you gonna see him?
Hmm.
You
Uh,
said you had something to
okay.
hit on, dude. I was just helping you out.
So back to this whole Rupert Lowe thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just like I say. You know, I think that the Brits and most of Europe has gone farther left, at least in terms of censorship, than we have. You know,
Well,
at
yeah,
the end of
but
the
part of that is because you think about like the London mayor. You
Mhm.
think about, they've been electing people from these other cultures in London for a while now, and I think what's happened is that there's a little bit of a closeness factor to it. Whereas, I mean, yeah, we're getting a lot of nationals from all over the world, but a large majority of what's coming into our country is coming from South and Central America and
yeah.
Mexico. You know what I mean?
Well, and then you know, in the Brits' defense, you know, a lot of the people that have historically been coming to the UK are folks who are from former British colonies. You
Yeah,
know, so
like
there's a
India.
yeah, there is a cultural connection there.
Well,
So
that's what I'm saying though. But you know what the difference is you know how you were just talking about religion, that people that are the vast majority of who's coming into our country in thralls, or who was coming into our country and came in, guess what? They're from dominant, like overwhelmingly dominated
Catholic,
Catholic
yeah, yeah.
societies.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that I think you know, it should, culturally, it's not as
Different.
divergent, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not as different.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying.
yeah. So, you know, the London, you know, crime rate in London is through the roof. You know, there's a they're up or the big R. There's a lot of those. You know,
London
I
hadn't
said
had
I
mass stabbings and shootings at the clip the US had, and then all of a sudden they've had like these things happen, these violent attacks and outbursts and different things. It's like,
well, it's just like anything else, man. You know, I say this all the time. When you've got something to lose, you think about what you're doing beforehand. But
yeah.
when what you have to lose is so little, people will do almost anything. You know, I I I I understand their frustration. And this, like I say, this Rupert Lowe fella, if you get a chance, check out his this post that he made. It's a video just kind of introducing this party, and apparently this thing's already got 250,000 upvotes. It went
It's
up on
Britain's
Sunday,
mega. It's Britain's mega party.
and that's kind of what it sounds like. This guy came out of nowhere, and on what the heck is it? Ranker? Is it Rank? Not Ranker. What's the one where you can basically bet on anything?
It's not
I can't.
Ranker. I can't think of the
No,
name
I
of it, but
can't
it's
remember
not
the name of it.
Ranker.
Regardless, on that site, he's gone from nothing to like I think 4% likelihood of becoming the next British Prime Minister
Good.
in 2 days. You know, like I say,
But
and you know
Britain's
what
also doing some weird stuff, man. They're posturing against Trump sometimes, then they're acting like they're his best friend. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just sent their carrier. They're talking about how they're sending their carrier strike teams into the North Arctic. The country's just in a weird spot too, kind of like ours. You know
well,
what I mean?
yeah, they're in a weird spot because they're stuck between the EU and the US. You know, their largest two largest trading partners, and
You know the
you know,
easiest way to
like I say,
solve all this stuff is just say
hmm.
no immigration from these places unless it's legal. Like seriously, make laws that are just legal immigration laws.
Well, and there are countries that are doing that. There's, you know, Poland is a big one. Poland has really strict immigration laws, and good on them. You know, you have the option to do that. It's your country. If you don't want to let anybody in, and then they've caught hell from the EU, basically saying, "Well, you're not doing your part." Well, it's like we don't want these people here illegally.
We're
If they want,
100% doing our part. We're doing what we need to do to protect our country.
yeah. So, I don't know. I thought it was really interesting because you know we've been taking note that uh the winds of change are kind of in the air when it comes to the whole left right thing. another thing I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to get your opinion on. So I believe it was Toyota, has introduced a manual transmission electric vehicle. Now, how they're doing this is the thing that I take issue with, because I'm like, oh, well, yeah, it's kind of cool, right? You know, you got a 6-speed manual just connected to an electric engine motor. That's cool. That's all right. That's of the available options, that's the least terrible, right? So, however, if you know anything about electric motors, they don't have
Do you have to pull
transmissions.
start it when you go?
Well, no. So they don't actually have transmission. So this thing has a has has a gear shifter, gear select, a stick, like a manual transmission car should, and or like every good car should. And it has a clutch pedal, and it the engine is the electric motor is simply designed and programmed to make it feel like you are changing gears. Doesn't change any. There's nothing mechanical about this manual transmission.
So
It'll
I'm
even
basically playing
stall.
Cruising USA.
Exactly. And I'm just like, who is like, this is a good idea. You know, if that doesn't say a lot, it's, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of what the hell's the stuff called? Beyond Meat. You
Oh
know,
God.
I'm gonna get a Beyond Meat burger. Well, if you want a burger, just eat the goddamn burger. Like, why are you
Like,
pretending that
look,
it's like
I get like
vegan
having veggie
cheese?
burgers. I get having a veggie burger. You know what I mean? Like veggie burgers
Sure,
aren't bad. Like a black bean burger or something like that are
I
different.
guess.
They're not my favorite, but I get that. But I don't get or like the chickpea burgers. I had one of those. That wasn't bad. But my point is fake anything.
It's just like, I've got a really good friend of mine who's vegan, and he is the best kind of vegan. He's a vegan who doesn't make it anybody else's problem that he's vegan. Like, that's the best kind of vegan, man. He does it for his own moral reasons and good on him. He'll never make it your problem that he's vegan. So
I can't be a vegan. But
I can't do
vegetarian
it.
maybe.
No, couldn't do
Pescatarian,
any of it.
probably more so pescatarian. I could do like shrimp, fish, and chicken, but
But it's like he hates vegan cheese. He says it's the grossest thing on the face of the planet. Well, it's because it's not cheese. You know, you could try and make it seem like cheese, but
you ever
it's
tried to
at
eat
the
a
end of the day,
vegan
it's not
piece of
cheese.
bread?
No, dude.
I thought I
No.
chipped my tooth on it.
I I will admit, like, there's been a few things that he's had. Like, we'll go on a golf trip and he'll bring some stuff, and this isn't bad. It's not as good as the one made with meat, but this isn't bad.
Are you talking about
But
AP? Is AP a vegan?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, he's been a vegan
What?
for
I would have never have known
ever.
that.
Well,
Really?
exactly, because he's a vegan who doesn't make it your problem that he's a vegan. It's the best kind of vegan, you know. Uh, so
So next time you guys go on your golf trip and we stop somewhere, I'm gonna get the biggest steak ever.
he doesn't care.
I know.
Doesn't give two.
Don't you love those like blue-haired people that are like, "Oh my God, you're eating meat"?
I think that's less of a thing now, man. It's not really But anyways, so I
Learn something
don't
new
know.
today.
So yeah, so this whole manual electric thing, I'm just like, this has got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. What it sounds to me
So it's
like
a
you
simulator,
want,
pretty much.
basically, but what it sounds to me like
But
what
why
you
would they even
want
waste their time
is
putting it in the car? That's you're
because
paying
they
for
know
that.
they know that people want fun cars. They want fun cars, and they're like, well, let's just make it seem like it's a manual. They're dumb. You know what I mean? uh
Yeah, I love Cruising USA, man.
that's essentially what it is. It's completely fake. There's no actual transmission. It's just it's like I think it was Subaru when they had their CVT transmissions. um they make it so that it feels like it's a regular transmission.
Yeah.
Well, why? Well, because people like it more. So just use a regular transmission. If you're making it feel like it's a CVT, making it feel like it's a regular transmission, just put a regular transmission in. Leave the CVTs to, to the snowmobiles, you know. But yeah.
So I want to talk about a goat for a second. The true
Kind of
goat.
goat.
The true goat. The greatest of all time goat. The number
Okay.
one in everybody's books. His birthday is tomorrow. Just want to say happy birthday to Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the greatest GOAT to ever live. Happy birthday, man. Shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for making our childhood real. Thanks for giving us something that defied every logic that we had seen to that point. And thank you for allowing us to live and exist at a time where you played basketball so that we can say unequivocally LeBron will never be your GOAT.
Nope.
So
What?
thank you, Michael
So
Jeffrey Jordan. Thank you. We
what
love you,
about
man.
are you saying is he more or less goated than Brady?
I am actually going to say, and this is going to be to my own detriment, that he is the number one GOAT of all time.
Okay, so he is more goat than
Well,
than
it's
Tom
five.
Brady.
It's 5 on a court. It's 11 on the field. Brady's job was to get the ball there, but there was a lot of guys who had to protect him. A lot of times, Michael Jordan didn't even have the ball leave his hand on an offensive set. He just did what he had to do.
Good argument. I like that.
So
I agree with you, by the way, but
I'm
he is
not
my
saying
goat
Brady's
of
not an
goats.
incredible athlete, and an incredible. I mean, Brady is by far and away the top football player that's ever played football. It isn't even close. His dedication. Brady might even be the greatest athlete to ever play a sport. Well, here's why. Not from an athletic body. I don't
I
want you
was
to think of
gonna
it that way.
say.
No,
I
I'm
was
not
gonna
saying it from that.
say.
I'm saying it from the
He's not.
dedication and commitment to his craft.
Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
know if there was ever anybody who was more nuts. I mean, the dude ate avocado ice cream in the winter because he didn't want to have inflammation. And in the spring,
Kobe.
he switched it up. His diet always changed based on I wouldn't even go that far with Kobe. I wouldn't.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard some pretty crazy stories about Jordan and his work ethic, and
He was.
you
I'm
know,
not saying. I'm just saying
but
Brady
it's
was
interesting.
obsessed, like sleeping in the film room. Like when Mike won his third championship in a row, and he took his little break. He might have worked harder when he came back, but on 2 and 3, dude, he was just on top of the game. Like there was nobody that was gonna stop him. Like, come on, man. I mean, I don't care. You say what you will. He did push off on Byron Russell 100%. He swung that hand on him and then stepped back. But I don't care. They don't call it today's NBA, so who cares?
Oh, not at all. Love Jaylen Brown, but he gets away with that. So
Oh my
he
God,
does
dude.
it so well now too. That
He just
just a little forearm shove, just a little tiny one. He doesn't extend it way out. Just a little bump with the forearm. Just
but
get
he's a
him
strong
moving.
dude, so he's a strong dude
He
moving
is a
quick.
strong dude.
Yeah, speaking of Jalen Brown, do you see where he said that he wants to fight UFC or boxing after he retires, and that he's already talked to Dana White about his career? I'm like,
No, I haven't
no,
seen that.
yeah, dude, he did. He said it the other day at the All-Star
And
weekend,
that's
and
he
my
doesn't.
exact thought process was this: MIT, not UFC.
I mean, the thing with
He's
it
like a
is me.
professor, not a stinking.
You know,
Joe
I
Mazzulla's
don't
rubbing
know.
off on him, dude. Joe
Apparently.
Mazzulla's got him in there like doing taekwondo, karate, doju, I don't know, God knows what.
You know, it's one of those things. I hope he's smart enough not to. To be perfectly honest, you know, it's one thing if you are just incredibly passionate about it and that's just what you want to spend your life doing. But you know, now it's not like it used
I'd
to
rather
be.
see Jalen
It's
pick up like sticks, dude, and go play golf. To be honest with you, I think he'd probably be pretty decent at it if he tried. I'm
uh,
not saying he could play professionally, but
you know who could?
Steph Curry, yeah, all day.
Steph Curry. I was
Dude, Steph Curry will play on the senior tour. Watch what I tell you.
I mean, you have to. There's certain things you have to do to get on the
Okay, but
senior
I
tour.
bet you when he retires, if he's retired by 40, he'll enter a few
Uh,
tournaments.
I mean, he's won a
Pro-am.
lower tier. No, well, he's won a pro-am, and he made
Yeah.
the cut for basically uh the equivalent of a G League tournament. So like, the guy's he's a legit golfer.
No,
He's got a
he's a scratch golfer, dude. He's really good.
well, he's better than
I know.
scratch. He's a plus
I know.
handicap.
Is
So I
he?
mean, yeah, he's a plus. I mean, he's not deep into the pluses, but he's like a plus 0.5,
Who
I
won the
think.
Pebble? Dude, so speaking of golf, who ended up winning that Pebble Beach thing, dude? Because I know we joked the other day, but that cut line was low. Like
Yeah,
real
it
low.
was Colin Morikawa ended up winning it. Was he got to 22 under, and then he bogeyed, I think, the par 3 16th or 17th. And then ended up winning by 1 stroke. So he ended up 21. Yeah, he ended up 21.
Wow.
Which, Pebble Beach is the thing with Pebble Beach. If you know anything about Pebble Beach, it is a course that you can score on. Pros can score on it, but the weather's got to agree with you.
Well, I don't know if you heard
If the weather doesn't play nice, that is one of the most brutal golf courses.
Keegan Bradley, I think it was.
Okay.
They asked him about the conditions, and he said it's probably the fastest greens he's played on in like 3 or 4 years. They were just rolling, dude. I'm like,
But like I say, Pebble Beach is kind of known for having fairly receptive greens. Like they're soft and easy to play on. They roll true. But like I say, it's a course that when the weather decides it's not going to agree with you, like it started to at the end of the round on yesterday, it's brutal. It's
Mickelson
really
once
brutal.
said that the wind there, when it picks up, if there's weather, the wind just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, you could be having a great game and or a great round, and next thing you know, you're just tanked because the way the wind
Yeah.
changes.
And that's
Beautiful course
yeah,
though, man.
beautiful
Beautiful
course.
course.
Would love to play it one day. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe if I played more golf, I might join you. I heard of this really cool place, dude, up in like I think it's in like or I don't know if you ever get to Maine, dude. Really cool. It's called like Rocky Knoll or something like that. Everybody swears it's like the greatest golf course. I'm like, dude, I might have to go check that out.
Oh, I'm gonna have to edit that out. It's not even in.
I know I'm making it up as I went.
uh,
All right, so in all seriousness, man, it was a long, like I said, it was a long weekend. You had a long start to the week. I'm just ready for like the sun to shine, man, the winter to kind of go away a little bit, get outside some more, reap the benefits of some good old-fashioned vitamin D, not the one you're thinking of. Um, because I know where you went. But no, dude, like I'm in that like section of winter where I'm over it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And, like, now I'm ready
You
to, like,
should
start
be one
walking
to
again.
talk.
Dude, where I live, it usually melts. You know that we've had the coldest 6 weeks we've had since 1934? My power bill is gonna be triple what it has been. My propane that I filled up on December 18th is already at 35% for heating my downstairs. So I had to call and place another order. I'm just saying we're not equipped for it. The grid was maxed out down here, man. Insane. Like, and the whole time well, dude, and then to cap it all off, I'm over it. And then I bury my wife's car in a ditch because of the stupid ice. Like, I'm good, man. Like, I'm just good. Like, I don't want to drive anywhere. I don't want to do anything. Oh, did I mention? So Saturday night, I'm going to my neighbors because my wife's gone. So one of my neighbors and his wife were like, "Hey, why don't you come over for steak and taters?" Cool. Sounds good. Crash their Valentine's dinner. Amazing. Well, my other neighbor who was flying solo, my mom of the neighborhood, so to speak, went with
Yep.
me and I picked her up. And as I'm backing out, wasn't thinking because it's not Monday that her trash can was gonna be there. So definitely kind of tapped her trash can too on the way out. It's like I quit. I just don't need to drive. And then so like tomorrow I gotta put a lot of miles on this week, and I'm scared to death because I'm in this crappy car that I don't know how to drive. And I'm like, oh god, dude, I'm gonna totally like this isn't good. It's not good.
Well, all right,
But
my brother.
yeah, man. So hopefully we'll find out soon if Tatum's going to be there. It was a good NBA All-Star weekend. Hawks, pitchers are about to report for spring training. Golf's kicking up. If you're into the Daytona 500, NASCAR's getting ready to, do their 5,000 circles that they
Praise
do.
Hail, praise Dale.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's a weird time because the NBA, trade deadline's over. We're kind of just waiting for the playoffs. Buyout season's there. Pretty excited, man, just to kind of get through it. March Madness. So I actually need your opinion before we go, okay? So a lot of people are saying that it's better to get snipped during the Masters than it is to get snipped during. I'm just curious your opinion on this. Than it is to get snipped during the March Madness, because during March Madness you're gonna jump up and down because it's so exciting, and you could end up popping a stitch or something. And a lot of people are like, during the Masters you just gotta sit there. You know what I mean? Watch golf. I'm just curious your opinion. Would you go for the Masters for this, or would you go for the?
Listen, bro, if you want to have somebody remove your penis, that's fine.
Wasn't
You
talking
do
about
you,
that
bro.
kind of, bro.
You do
That's
you,
kind
bro.
of weird. That got weird. Talking about making it so I don't make more babies, dude. I don't want any more babies.
Oh, well, man, there's no babies in butt sex.
You better edit that out. Okay. You better edit that out, because she actually listens to our stupid. So just edit that out. All right. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer close today. The Epstein files, take them with a grain of salt for what we're saying on them. Sterl has done a deep dive on this stuff, and he'll probably keep deep diving because every time I talk to him, the rabbit hole just keeps going. But we now have an assumption of where the money came from. We have an assumption that he was eating people, that he was stealing babies out of wombs. But we don't know. These are just things that we're saying, man. We're not really sure, but I do think that, again, like I said the other day, eating people is bad. Jeffrey Epstein was bad. Jason Tatum coming back on March 1st could be good or bad. But you know what's not bad? Tomorrow's the GOAT's birthday, Sterl. So let's finish it with a happy birthday to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. You are the best. And we just want you to do what MJ does. Stay a dude. I don't know, man. That was fun.
I'm the king of my driveway, mowing lines so straight. Got a toolbox full of glory, and a mortgage by the plate.